boys and girls, okay, we have spent some time mixing colors and making beautiful paper. So today we're going to turn our beautiful paper into a silly-faced pumpkin. Everybody is going to have a selection of little white squares and black rectangles. We're going to use these for his face. So to create our pumpkin's eyes, those circles, we're going to start with a square, okay? And the way we're going to make this into a circle is we're going to cut off these corners. So I'm just going to cut off all 4 corners, like so. Getting rid of those corners. And when you're done, you should have what looks like a stop sign. It should be an 8-sided figure. We call it an octagon. But it's still not a circle, right? When I compare it to this one still has some little corners. So I'm going to cut off more triangles like this, but I'm only going to cut a little bit. So I'm going to get in here, and do you see how much, no, you can't see that on the table, but do you see that right there? Do you see how small that is? So now I'm just going to cut off little corners. Anywhere I see a little corner, see that little corner right there? I'm just going to snip it off. And this one right here, snip it off. And when I am done, there's a couple there, I will have a pretty big circle. Look at that. I now have a circle. And I started with a square. So in order to make a circle out of a square, you first have to cut off the 4 corners. Okay. Now what if I cut too much? Ooh, that could be a problem. If I cut too much, guess what I end up with? I'm going to show you. Oh no, I end up with another square. So you want to cut just the right amount. You don't want to cut too much, but you don't want to cut too little. If you don't cut enough, it's just going to look like a rounded square. Okay, so now I made that mistake. It will look like a little square. I'm just going to keep doing this until I get it down to a circle. If that happens to you, you can make your eyes just a little bit smaller. Okay, now I don't want 2 different size eyes, although I could do that. I don't want that, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to get another one. Now everyone's going to have a rectangle for his mouth. Right now this does not look like I want it to look, does it? I want to round the corners. So you could also make his mouth be just round on the bottom and leave it straight on the top if you want him to have a smile. If you want him to have an uh-oh face, we're going to turn this into we're going to do the same thing we did to make our circle, but we're going to make it into an oval. Okay, so I'm going to start by making this mouth. Show you how to do that. Just get rid of the corners, just like we did on the last video. Okay, and then we're going to get rid of the little corners, little corner, corner. And there we have an oval. Now this is kind of big for my pumpkin, isn't it? It's a little bit big. So I could turn it like this. I could have it like this. Or I could decide that I don't want it to be that big, and I could go make it a little bit smaller just by taking off a little bit more of my black. See how I cut off that edge? I made it a little smaller. Do that. Okay. Now, if I want to make my pumpkin smiling like this, guess what? All you do is cut off the bottom 2 corners. Don't cut off the top ones, just the bottom ones. And then get rid of those little points. And look at that. I have a happy smile. So I could make my pumpkin smiling. Okay? You get to decide. I could also make him sad if I wanted to. He could be like, oh dear, right? Now, everyone is going to have some black dots too. There should be a selection of them at your table. These are the dots we're going to use in the eyes. So this can really determine whether your pumpkin is looking silly. Maybe you're going to make his eyes be looking cross-eyed like this. Maybe you want him to look up. If I want him to look up, I'm going to put the dots way up here so it looks like he's looking up. If I want him to look over at this pumpkin, I would put the dots on the left side, so they're both looking that way. Okay, if I want him to look down at me, I would put him down here, and then he looks like he's looking down. Okay, I'm going to make him like concerned that maybe there's a spider crawling up to get him. Okay, and then it's time to glue. And as you remember, depending on where we're at, if we are using the glue bottles with the red lids, do not open the lids. That little tip right there, all we have to do is push that in and the glue will come out. So these are already open. We just need to press them down on the piece that we're gluing. So if I'm gluing this dot, all I do is press it down, press, press, and I have to do it a couple times because the glue's still running down into the tip. So I press, oh look at there, I'm already getting some dots of glue. Just press it till you see a little dot of glue come out, and then stick it where you want it to be. Oh, I probably should have stuck the white part down first, right? So dot, 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 not a lot, right? I got my dots in there. Can you see my glue? See? And then I'm going to stick that down. Do the same thing with this one. Dot, dot, dot. And stick it down. And then a little bit on this pupil. And there we go. Now I'm still deciding, do I want it to be this way or this way? Or do I want him to be happy? Or do I want him to be sad? You know, I haven't done a sad one. I might do that because I don't have an example of a sad one. So I think I'm going to do that just because I like to have little examples so you can get the idea of what you want yours to be. All right, there we go. So I have my sad pumpkin, and all of these little scraps here need to go into the garbage. So be sure that you don't leave those on your table. Next time we will put this together with our background. So we're going to be using our purple paper and our green paper to make the pumpkin patch and the sky for our pumpkin to be sitting in. But we're going to put this on the drying rack because it's got glue under here and we don't want to get that glue on anybody else's. So when you're done, put your pumpkin face on the drying rack and we will finish this next time.